Hello, guys. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach. And of course, LGBTQ perspective and a humanistic approach. And today we're going to discuss something very interesting called singlehood. Now, the many people think that many gays or everybody wants to marry, but there are some people who don't want to marry. Yeah, they're there. And people have a freedom, I believe, and I know, freedom of choice and freedom to associate. Remember, the new theory I'm peddling now is freedom of association is the basis on which marriage is based on. Marriage is based on the freedom of association. Singlehood is based on the freedom of association. So I'm peddling this theory, and I'm gonna do a very elaborate video on understanding freedoms, and one of them being the freedom of association. So what does this mean? Countries that do not that ban certain types of marriages are actually violating the freedom of association. That's what is happening in very many homophobic countries. If you ban, because sex is physical association. Sex is physical association. A partnership or a company is an economic association. A political party is a social association. A club is a social association. A church is a social association. So, why is it so? Humans are innately born with the need to connect with people. And it's not just humans, it's even in the animal kingdom. If you notice something, all the freedoms in the Constitution all over the world, they are actually animalistic freedoms. Freedom to express itself. Who tells the lion to roar? The lion roars. When it wants to roar, oh! Nobody has given it. It wants to roar, and it roars. Chicken and cocks and cockerels, they crow at whatever time, even if it's midnight. They will do it. Yes, it's freedom of expression. The Serengeti, the animals, the wildebeest, always, every season, they are moving, they are migrating. It's freedom of migration. What passport does the wildebeest have? No passport. They move, and there is no human who stops them from migrating. You'd say, no, these wildebeest belong to Kenya, so they cannot enter Tanzania because they don't have the proper documents. You see? Freedom of movement is in the animal kingdom. Freedom, which other freedom is there? We've talked about freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, and we also have the right to have a house and all of these things. But I'm focusing on freedoms. Also, freedom of conscience. You know what you want to believe. Yes, you're free to believe. And of course, if you read some constitutions, some advanced constitutions, they try and control that clause. But calling it a clawback. That okay, we've given you freedom, but to this extent. So what they have is what they're practicing is partial freedom. But as I've said, all freedoms are innate, and the freedom of association is innate. So in association, you can choose, and it's not really choice, it's that you feel. You see, feeling is connected to choice. It's very weird to say, yeah, I'm attracted to this person. I'm attracted and I want to be with them. You see, it's a choice that's based on feeling. That's what people need to understand. That choice, will. That's why they say the mind is the seat of the will, emotions, and the intellect. Meaning, the emotions are the same with the will, but not really. It's not dogmatic. It's just that it's connected like that. That's why transgenders are natural people. People are naturally born transgender. And imagine a transgender, they feel, I feel good, I want to be a woman, I feel like I'm a girl, I feel like I'm a lady, I want to do this and that. That's a transgender talking. And then you'll say, no, that's a demon. And no, it's not a demon. When you look at the biology, that person is actually trans. They have a brain that looks like a woman's brain. Some of them have the female hormone is so much in them naturally. You see? But you know what? You can be trans in nature and you say, you know what, I'm just going to stay the way I am. And nobody should attack you for that. Yes, because you're a transgender, but you feel okay in the sex you are assigned at birth. Of course, it doesn't mean you will not go through stress. You'll go through some stress because it's not who you are. Yes. And anyway, just live your life anyway. What I'm just trying to show you is that these freedoms are innate, they're in us. And singlehood is one of the freedoms. So just as freedom of association is there, you're also free not to associate. And so they are people who are single lesbians, single gays, single bisexuals, single transgenders, single queers, single questioners, single intersex, single asexuals, and by the most asexuals can stay single, and single pansexuals. And so there are some sexual identities that are not really based on singularity, or they don't seek singularity, because sex is association. As I've told you, it's physical association. So to be single is a very weird position to have. But I met people like that, and you don't have to attack them. This is why I'm of the view sex is marriage. Yeah, you're just marrying somebody because you're in every marriage. Sex has to happen. Not having children, sex has to happen. That's why marriage is there. Marriage is an institution of union, and union is shown in sex. When somebody divorces somebody, they cease to live together, which means they won't even have sex together. They won't unite. But when you're married, 100% you cohabit with that person most of the time. And why is it? What is cohabiting? Cohabiting means you unite. You have the capacity to unite. When you live together, you have capacity to unite. But a single person can stay alone. There are some people who stay with their pets. Others don't even stay with anybody, and they go on with their life. But there's also the other singlehood. I don't really support that one, whereby you're completely alone. You don't have associations. You don't have friends. There, I think you have a problem. Maybe you're suffering from antisociability. You're suffering from you have a fear to relate, and it could be something you went through in your life. Most of these people. That's why the world is taking sexual abuse and assault very seriously because of the effect it has on someone's psyche. Some people, like ladies who have been raped, they don't even want to see a man. Yeah, they're there. They don't want to see a man. They just see a man and they just see the rapist. So such people need a lot of counseling, and sometimes it can take years. You see what's happening in the Catholic Church? It's yeah, they have to deal with it. What else can they do? I mean, they can't keep on just staring. They will have to find ways, and one of the ways is relax the celibacy. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have to be. People don't have to be celibate. Marry whom you want to marry, whether you're gay or straight. You see how the African church, the African Catholic Church has done it. Some of them, they have left. They are still in Catholics, but they are now Africanizing the Catholic Church because celibacy was hard for some of them. And so I am of the view that those who want to be celibate, the way Paul said it, he said it simply. If you want, be like me. He was single. He was single. He was celibate. Well, according to him, we don't know. Because another thing, when you masturbate, are you single? Are you celibate? I don't think so. Because masturbation is release and is sexual. It's only that you've done it alone. Or even you can do it within the company of somebody. Do you know you can be a married couple and all you guys do is masturbate? Yeah, I mean, it's still sex, and mutual masturbation is sex. It is just non-penetrative sex. And you live together and you masturbate each other. Yes, this is the world. We're living rigidity because diversity is not rigid. Diversity will never be rigid. It is not. It's not even about never. It is not rigid. But the ancient systems were rigid because they had ignorance. They didn't have science. When you have science, rigidity collapses. Because one of the most important principles in science is diversity and uniqueness. If you want to be a brilliant scientist, live in those areas, uniqueness and diversity. Because it is in uniqueness that you're detailed. You see, diversity. Are you seeing even diversity is so clear in the world? Look at black people. We have shades of black. That's diversity already. Look at birds, the colors of their feathers. Diverse. There is no uniform color for some birds. Even lions, there are lions, you have albinos, you have the albino alligator. So that's diversity. And diversity is very detailed because when you look at all the ants, you will think they are all the same. But it's because you can't see the detail of the ant. When you go detail, you'll find one ant has a shorter leg than the other. Another ant has a big head. And they're in the same anthill. You see, you have to really look at it. Then that's the science. That's the secret of science. Once you know diversity. I mean, right now, when I discover diversity, I can write anything. Yes. Anything. Everything is diverse. diverse political systems, diverse human personalities, diverse. There's money in diversity. Go and read it more. And once you've known it, you'll be done. You would have reached nirvana. And that's where we are now. Okay, so let me finish on singlehood. Basically, those who want to be single and really don't want to be in a committed marriage are fine to be like that. And then also another aspect of singlehood, it applies, it's good for sex workers, people who sell their sexual services to others. It is advisable for them to be single. Reason being, there are less obstacles than when you're married. There are some married people who are sex workers, by the way. Don't forget that. Some people, you can get married to somebody and they say, you know what, this is the only way I can get food and bread and butter. I sell my body. And you say, okay, sell it. As long as bread and butter is coming to the house. So that's what some people do. But it's easier to sell yourself or to sell sexual services when you are single because you have less obstacles to handle in your life. So I just wanted to say, for those who are single out there, we understand you. Singlehood is okay. It's not bad. The only singlehood I think I would really shudder at is the one that whereby you really don't associate with anybody at all, be it sexually, be it socially, be it economically. You're just alone. No, there you have a problem. But when you have your social media, you have friends, you have casual sex with your friends once in a while, yeah, it's okay. Continue. That is your life. And another thing people need to understand, single people are also productive people. Single people are also responsible people. This belief that when you are single you are not responsible is a lie. Reason being, in fact, single people are the best workers. I would rather work with people who are single. I would rather hire them. Yeah, because they can focus on the work I'm giving them. When you're married, sometimes imagine you're married and your spouse is working with you in the same office. I am. I don't. I think the work rate can be bad because imagine you argued at home in the morning, then you come to the office. You guys won't be working because every time you look at each other, you just remember the argument you had. So you see, so the productivity of the company will reduce because you're bringing your domestic issues to the office. And why? It's because you're seeing each other. So personally, single people are very productive and can be productive. And there is no need to attack singlehood. Of course, some countries they tax single people more than the married couples because they want people to marry. You see, some governments want people to marry, so because they notice something, people value singlehood. Yes, because why do you tax something? Why do you give benefits to something? It's because that institution you're giving benefits to is not really popular. So you give tax incentives so that people can marry. And other countries they even do not want you to marry because they have too many people in the country and they just say, please don't even try, don't even dream it because we are too many. We don't have, I mean, look at China and all of these things. So basically, just be who you are and know that you have a choice to stay with whomever you want to stay with. There is no need for forced marriages and forced things. No, you are free to associate because you are a human who has the capacity to choose and associate.